Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. I got a brand new Raiders mock draft coming at you. All 7 rounds, all 8 picks. I did this on PFN mock draft, but I figured the way that I would do this is, since now that free agency 1 week is in the books, a lot of the Raiders' needs are a lot different from the last time I did a mock draft. So what you're going to see coming up here on today's show is I did not do any trades, and I ended up picking all of these picks that the Raiders have right now in 2024. I know originally when I've done some mocks in the past, Tankathon had the Raiders having 9 picks in total, 3 picks in round 7. Now that everything is officially out, comp picks and all that, the Raiders have 8 picks in total of the 2024 NFL Draft. So the way that this is going to work is I'm going to work my way from round 1 all the way down to round 7. If you find yourself looking, though, for more mock drafts out there, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on those notifications because anytime that I drop a video, I want you to be in the loop. But on top of that, we're going to be live for the NFL Draft. On top of that, when I do mocks, I think it's also an opportunity for a lot of y'all to try to wrap your mind around some of these new prospects of where Telesco, where Antonio Pierce could potentially go. Because when I do these, I try to do it based off of Raiders' needs, players that I like, players that the Raiders have met with, and I try to look into that crystal ball and predict what the silver and black could potentially do in the 2024 NFL Draft. So let's roll through here some of these mock draft results that ended up going down. Caleb Williams, Drake Maye, J.J. McCarthy, and then the Minnesota Vikings traded up to number 4 to select Jayden Daniels. I thought about trying to trade up for Jayden. However, the first trade that I offered Minnesota was declined. And I tried to give up 3 first-round picks. They declined it, or I guess I should say Arizona declined it. They just got a better deal from Minnesota. Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Nabers, they go off the board at number 7. Olu Fashanu, Brock Bowers, Roma Dunze, then Joe Alt. Quinion Mitchell goes off the board to number 11 of the Cardinals, and then Terry and Arnold, cornerback from Alabama. So that means for me personally, I'm on the clock now, round 1, pick 13. And I could have gone a few different directions here. Obviously, to me, I'm just going to go with the position that I still value and I still believe that this Raiders team needs to address. Not that I don't believe in Thayer Munford. I just view Talisi Fuaga as being an upgrade over Munford. And if you can have Munford be like that versatile guy, kind of like what we thought Jermaine Illuminor might be, somebody that can play guard, can play tackle, can play left tackle, right tackle, do both of those things. But going out and adding Fuaga, a tough run blocker, who also potentially might end up playing guard. I'm going to put him at right tackle personally. You address that right side of your offensive line and you continue to build one of the best trench units on both sides of the football because as it stands right now, this is the Raiders' offensive line. Your left side is okay. Now, I've also seen some ideas out there. Maybe you kick Dylan Parham into the right guard. You go out and sign another free agent offensive lineman. Based on where the Raiders are at right now, I am really, really hoping that the silver and black go out and you add another offensive guard to the trenches. That way it helps out your overall line going into the NFL Draft. Let's go to round 2 here, pick number 44, and I really like the value, and I was able to get Ennis Rakestraw, cornerback from Missouri. This is my 4th ranked corner for the Raiders, and this is actually a player that I think might end up getting taken in round 1. Very athletic dude, very fiery, very competitive, and this would be arguably the best corner on the Raiders roster right now. I'm a lot higher on Rakestraw maybe than some other people are out there, but 35 tackles, 4 PBUs, no interceptions last season for the Missouri Tigers. Does need to be a little bit better on his ball play, ball hawking skills, but for a competitor, for what Patrick Graham, for what Antonio Pierce is looking for, you go out there, you're going to find somebody that's not afraid to come up and hit you. You're going to go out and find somebody that can do multiple different things, can play in multiple different systems, and could be a legit outside corner. He's an upgrade over Brandon Faison. It would be Nate Hobbs, Jack Jones, Ennis Rakestraw Jr. at round 2, pick 44. Personally, to me, I think Rakestraw gets taken in round 1. Let's go to round 3, pick 77, and I'll be real, this is the part of the mock draft where I was very interested to hear some of y'all's standpoints because Bo Nix was on the board at pick 44. Michael Penix Jr. went off the board already, so I could have taken Bo in round 2, pick 44, but I decided to roll the dice, and I decided to see could maybe Bo fall to round 377, which Nix ended up getting taken in the 60s in this mock draft. So instead, I ended up going with quarterback Spencer Rattler from South Carolina at 77. there's a part of me that wonders where he ends up going in the NFL draft, just because there is some upside there. He's got athletic ability. He's got the arm talent. He was the MVP of the Senior Bowl, and I know that the Raiders have started to scout Rattler, and based on the value that I had presented to me, like, the only way I would have been able to get Michael Penix Jr. is if I would have traded up and probably would have had to give up more draft picks this year and potentially even a first-round pick in next year's draft. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to take Bo at 44 either, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to roll the dice on Spencer Rattler, and he was available to me at pick 77, and that's the route that I'm going to go. If the Raiders decide to take this South Carolina quarterback, guess what? You're going to have a three-way quarterback competition between him, Gardner Minshew, and Aiden O'Connell. And I don't really anticipate that Rattler would legitimately win that battle, but what I do think what would happen is you have Gardner Minshew and Aiden. They battle for the starting spot. Whoever ends up winning that starting spot, you roll them out there, and then you have Rattler learn for a year. Then you hand the keys to him. Like, if you're going to go out and get a quarterback like Rattler, J.J. McCarthy, those guys need time to marinate. Those guys need time to sit behind. And I do think having a QB like Minshew to be that veteran presence that really helps this young quarterback would be the route that the Raiders would ultimately end up going. So I had this question here because I thought, you know what, let's ask the nation. Let's say the Raiders go out and they draft Spencer Rattler. You have Gardner Minshew, you have Aiden O'Connell. Out of those three QBs, who do you think would be the week one starting quarterback for the Silver and Black? Type SR for Spencer Rattler, GM for Gardner Minshew, AOC for Aiden O'Connell. My money would go on Gardner Minshew. Let's go to round 4 here, pick 112. And this is an area that, when I look at this draft here, this is where it gets a little bit weird for me, and I wish that I would have done maybe a few things different when I saw how the draft board fell. To me, Jaden Hicks was by far the best player on the board, and I know Hicks has spoke very highly about the Raiders, has made it very open at the Combine that he is interested in playing for Las Vegas, is a Las Vegas native on top of that, and just what he brings to the table in terms of versatility at the safety position. It is not the biggest need for the Raiders. But if you are looking at best player available, I'm telling you in this mock, he was by far the best player available still left on the board. He can play safety. He can be a tough-nosed type of player. And if you're not sold on Epps or Merrick, and if you potentially next offseason got to pick between one of these players of who you're going to extend, well, going out and getting Jaden Hicks might be a little bit easier of a decision to make. On top of that, if there was a player that I would be intrigued by, could the Raiders turn a safety into a linebacker? Hicks is athletic enough, he's big enough where even if you added like 10, 15 pounds to him, could you do something that we thought maybe the Raiders tried to do with Isaiah Palomeo last season? Could you do something that we saw many years ago where Tanner Muse tried to play linebacker? Even, you see it with the linebacker right now. No, not Isaiah Simmons. The linebacker right now, Luke Masterson, where he's a little bit undersized as a linebacker, and some people thought he could potentially end up playing safety. This would be more about a versatility type of move, and you not loving somebody that this regime did not draft, which was Chris Smith. Before I get into our next pick here in this mock draft, I noticed today that there are Christian Wilkins t-shirts available out there. Now, I know it says 00. Wilkins is going to wear number 94, but our partners here, they don't have the number yet updated on the jersey. So bottom line is this: if you want to pre-order your Christian Wilkins t-shirt, it's chatsports.com/Wilkins. That link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments and down in the description of today's show. I know what the picture shows. When you pre-order your t-shirt and it comes to you, it'll have the correct Christian Wilkins number. It's just when they made it, it was 00 just because they didn't want to take a chance on the number. And when you click on the link, it'll literally tell you, like, number hasn't been officially official. I'm up here telling you Christian Wilkins is going to wear number 94. And if you want to pre-order your shirt for a chance to get one, chatsports.com/Wilkins. Let's go to round 5, pick 148, and this is another pick that's not a major need, but Marshawn Lloyd off the board, Ray Davis off the board. I was hoping that one of those two running backs would fall to me at round 5, pick 148, and when I go back and I look at this mock draft, the area that I kick myself in the butt is I wish I would have taken Lloyd or Ray Davis in round 4 instead of Hicks. However, though, it is kind of what it is here. For those of you that are watching live, the video that we're going to do next is the Raiders are signing Alexander Mattison, so just be on the lookout for that. But Cade Stover was somebody who I ended up taking in round 5 here. I believe he's going to be a top 100 player. ESPN has him ranked as their 79th overall dude. But to me, the reason why that I ended up going this route here is because Harrison Bryant's on a 1-year deal. I know how difficult it is for tight ends to be able to get a deal done right away, or for tight ends to be able to make an instant impact on a team. So because of this, you have Maye, you have Harrison Bryant this year. You let Harrison Bryant walk next season, and then you end up rolling it with Cade Stover. Let's go to round 6, 208. I'm going to go with Kamani Vidal, and for people that watch this show will know that this is the running back that I am starting to target late in my drafts. He's a small, undersized back. However, he's a lot stronger and he's a lot thicker than what he gets credit for. He's 5'8", 215 pounds. He has a nasty stiff arm, and I had somebody at the combine tell us that his running style kind of reminds him of a lesser version of Josh Jacobs. Go watch the tape. I know, Troy, small school, large workload, but Kamani Vidal, 4.46 40-yard dash, good footwork, interesting running back prospect that I would at least keep an eye on. Though, as I'm making this video, the Raiders did just sign Alexander Mattison to add to that running back backfield. Let's go to round 7 now, pick 223, Nehemiah Pritchett. And this has been a cornerback that I have just continued to get in mock drafts. I think he's a competitive dude. I also know that he's got some ties with Raiders running back coach now, Carnell Williams. Yes, very different positions, but if you can find a corner that can be a Meek Robertson type of replacement, and you can get him in round 7 that's going to go out there and compete at a high level, I do think it's a position to at least keep in mind. Before we get into the final pick here of our mock draft, if you want in for a chance to win some money for our March Madness bracket, we now need only 12 more people to get in. $50 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. Winner gets $1,600. If you enjoy our duck races, we're going to do a duck race live here on the Raiders Report. You got to win 6 times to end up winning the ultimate prize. The final pick here for my updated Raiders mock draft, Jalen Green, defensive end from James Madison. And I do think it's kind of funny how timing sometimes works. Last week we talked about Green being a player that's got all these stats, all these numbers, 6'1", 245 pounds, 15.5 sacks last season for JMU. I was told over the weekend, and it was been reported, that the Raiders are going to have a top 30 visit with Green. So a lot of the times when you have these type of visits, and if I'm Jalen Green, the number 1 team or one of the teams I'd love to go to, defensive end, small school, Max Crosby, Las Vegas Raiders, let's run it. And he's going to get some opportunity to get some playing time. So because they're going to have a top 30 visit with him, and because he's a hell of an athlete, I ended up going Jalen Green here in the 7th round. So one more time here. Here is my Raiders 2024 NFL Draft. Mock draft update, I guess I should say, after week 1 of free agency. Give it an A, B, C, D, or F. If you want to take a screenshot, post this on social media. Just make sure you tag me. I would appreciate it. That way I could, kind of defend myself here and there. But let me know down below. Grade my mock draft A, B, C, D, or is it an F? For me personally, I look at this mock draft and I like it. I really, really like my top 2 picks. I think getting Spencer Rattler in round 3 is a good value. Where I kind of lose it, and I wish I would have gone a different way, is Jaden Hicks, Cade Stover, though I do really, really like the value. For me personally, I'm going to give myself a B minus grade for this Raiders mock draft.